Flooding is also affecting a number of our stations, so people need to be vigilant and do not run for your service as platforms can be slippery when wet, Mr. Hutchings said. Commuters were also urged to be cautious on the road network, with localized flooding and damage across the state. A number of roads across Sydney remained closed on Wednesday as a result. Light rain and strong winds at Bronte on Wednesday. Brook Mitchell SES receives thousands of assistance requests. NSW, says Assistant Commissioner Dean Storey, asked motorists to stay off the roads where possible, as the emergency service continued to be inundated with requests for help. Overnight Tuesday into Wednesday, Mr. Storey said the SES had received 2,600 requests for assistance and made 91 flood rescues across Greater Sydney. It was a very busy night. Although the rain has eased today, we are still seeing floodwaters very high and rising, he said. The SES helps to evacuate children from a childcare centre in Manly. James Brickwood, the key message this morning as people wake up and leave their homes, is to avoid unnecessary travel if you are in the flood-affected areas. If you can stay off the roads, please do so. Strong wind gusts lash Sydney. Thanks to a long-lasting east coast low, which is finally set to move off the NSW coast later on Wednesday, damaging wind gusts are expected in the state's east. On Tuesday night, strong gusts were recorded at Molyneux Point, Cornell, and Sydney Airport. The Bureau of Meteorology's Jackson Brown said damaging winds would ease across Sydney and the state's south coast later on Wednesday. Mr. Brown said the east coast low was expected to push off the coast by Wednesday evening, but winds were a major concern before then. The State Emergency Service advises that people should move vehicles under cover or away from trees, secure or put away loose items around your house, yard and balcony, and keep at least 8 meters away from fallen power lines or objects that may be energized, such as fences, the Bureau of Meteorology warned in a statement. There is also a separate severe weather warning for hazardous surf across the Hunter Coast, Sydney Coast, Illawarra Coast, Batemans Coast and Eden Coast. Flash flooding in Narrabeen on Tuesday afternoon. Nick Moyer, the NSW Police Marine Area Command, urged people to consider staying out of the water and to avoid walking near surf-exposed areas. On Wednesday morning, about 9,600 customers were still without electricity across NSW, following the Northern Beaches bullseye, which brought major flash flooding to the area. Sydney, the Blue Mountains, Southern Highlands and South Coast were among the worst affected areas. Small businesses able to apply for $50,000 in support. Meanwhile, the state government announced on Wednesday that flood-affected small businesses and not-for-profit organizations across NSW could apply for up to $50,000 in government support. NSW Premier Dominic Perrottet said the grants would act as a lifeline to businesses hit the worst by the floods. Businesses can apply for the grants via Service NSW. Evacuations continue on Tuesday night. The State Emergency Service ordered people in McGrath's Hill and Mulgrave in Sydney's northwest to evacuate by 8:30 p.m, and people in the Glenridding and Dunler townships in Singleton to leave by 10 p.m. Loading, it said people affected by earlier evacuation orders for Scone and the Hunter region and low-lying properties on the Lower Macleay River in northern NSW could safely return with caution. The 820 millimeters of rain that has fallen on Sydney since the beginning of January is more than double the year-to-date average and smashes the previous record, set in 1956, of 782 millimeters. Some areas recorded more than 120 millimeters in 6 hours on Tuesday, turning roads into rivers and causing chaos for commuters. Sydneysiders from all corners of the city, Camden in the south, Richmond in the north and Narrabeen on the coast, watched on in horror on Tuesday as their suburbs were submerged. The SES ordered all residents in the northwestern Sydney suburbs of McGrath's Hill and Mulgrave to evacuate by 8:30 p.m. before the Hawkesbury River reached a peak of 13.8 meters at Windsor. Late on Tuesday night, the river was still rising and had exceeded flood levels from March 2021 at North Richmond, Windsor, Sackville, Lower Portland and Wiseman's Ferry. About 40,000 people across the state were ordered to leave their homes, and another 20,000 were told to prepare to leave. These included suburbs along the Nepean, Georges and Hawkesbury rivers, as well as residents near Narrabeen Lagoon and Manly Dam, where water was spilling over dam walls. About midnight, the SES said residents of all properties surrounding Narrabeen Lagoon could return. But it warned, flood damage could be widespread. 2 bodies were found in Coopers Creek Stormwater Canal in Wentworthville about 8:20 a.m. on Tuesday, believed to be 67-year-old Hemelathosola sachithananthum and her 34-year-old son, Ramuth. Loading the woman's Mazda 3 was found in the same canal at the adjoining suburb of Wentworthville on Monday afternoon. The Insurance Council of Australia on Tuesday reported receiving 96,844 claims related to the floods in NSW and southeast Queensland, a 12% increase within 24 hours. As we expected, we are now seeing an influx of claims from NSW, said Andrew Hall, the Council's Chief Executive Officer. The estimated current cost of claims now stands at $1.45 billion. About 80% of total claims are for domestic property, 17% for cars, and the remainder commercial property claims. However, the extensive damage, which is yet to be counted from today's storm, will push these numbers up significantly more.